I'm the sports professor, Rick Horrow, and welcome to Beyond the Scoreboard, a serious show that doesn't take itself too seriously as we get into the trillion-dollar business of sports, not the X's and O's, in the locker rooms. Recent study came out that 73% of all the column inches in internet space is now devoted to sports news, business, marketing, administration, deal-making, not just X's and O's. So get with the program. Hopefully it will give you a fresh perspective domestically and internationally. Internationally, interesting things happen. Dateline, Havana, Cuba. President Obama and Raul Castro sitting together. Rays beat the Cuban national team 4-1. Estadio Latinoamericano hot with excitement about what could be. Derek Jeter, Dave Winfield, Rob Manfred, John Kerry, many players, many dignitaries. Now the work starts. Does Major League Baseball cut an economic deal for franchise opportunities? And where do they also go? That's the big issue coming up. Clearly, Havana, a big deal. Dateline, Toronto. International, NHL and Players Association signed 8 new deals for the World Cup of Hockey, September 7th through October 1. Molson, Coors, PepsiCo, Scotiabank. It's at the Air Canada Centre in Toronto. There's a sponsor. Scotiabank, the title sponsor of the Fan Village, allowing people to interact kind of like they do with Super Bowl and otherwise. A big, big, big deal for television and the expansion of international hockey. In Dateline, across the pond, the UEFA Executive Committee Vice President raised the possibility of some of the Euro 2016 matches played in empty stadiums due to the obvious terrorist concerns. The people in Paris, the 130 dying at the Bataclan and otherwise, the Brussels attack. UEFA issued the statement before Europeans' economic and political capital attacked by ISIS terrorists. The Belgian national team quickly canceled training sessions in the week of the Brussels attack. Move only temporary and only precautionary. But the bottom line is we have certainly not heard the last of this story. The show today, by the way, focuses on a broader theme of best practices, athlete experiences, turning entrepreneurs, sports spending strategies from the C-suite executive at a blue-chip Fortune 500, and data analytics from a statistical pioneer, Andy Ram, Janet Fletcher, Bill James. We'll hear about all of them and what they may have in common, getting into Beyond the Scoreboard. Be back in just a couple of minutes.
Tired of calls, levies, and liens from the IRS or hiring others who don't get the job done? Call Wall & Associates and you'll never talk to the IRS again. The IRS has a program to eliminate tax debt, and Wall & Associates professionals are trained to maximize its benefits for you. You always speak with a live person with real support and real knowledge. We've helped thousands of taxpayers like you settle their tax debt with the IRS for a fraction of what they owe. We solve tax problems. Call Wall & Associates now, 800-480-5708. We have the professionals who know how to solve tax problems. If you owe money to the IRS, your tax problems are not going away by themselves, and the passage of time will only make matters worse. Act now, before it's too late. Call Wall & Associates right now to speak to a professional tax relief agent. Call 800-480-5708. That's 800-480-5708. Again, 800-480-5708.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number.
Call 877-499-MY-TV.
The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money.
Call 877-499-MY-TV.
Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $24.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows. Pause and rewind live TV. Even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $24.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card.
Call 877-499-MY-TV. That's 877-499-MY-TV.
Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more.
Call now, 877-499-MY-TV. That's 877-499-MY-TV. Looking to get away this winter? Visit the charming bayside town of Tiburon, located just minutes from San Francisco. The Lodge at Tiburon is steps from the ferry docks and nestled among Tiburon's upscale boutiques, enticing cafes, and unique galleries. Dine at award-winning Tiburon Tavern, serving innovative dishes prepared with ingredients grown in our very own garden. Join us at the Lodge at Tiburon and create long-lasting memories. Winter specials from $159 a night. Call 1-877-614-6068 or go to lodgeattiburon.com.
iHeartRadio loves music, so let's count the ways. Over 20 million songs from 800,000 artists, all free. And like Pandora, you can create your own custom station from any of those 800,000 artists. Just tell us an artist or even a song that you like, and we'll build a custom playlist for you. Add to that thousands of the best live radio stations, and you'll never have to worry about finding the perfect song for your commute, mood, or party. Millions of songs, thousands of stations, one free app. iHeartRadio is that easy. Download our iHeartRadio app today or listen online at iHeartRadio.com.
Beyond the scoreboard, beyond the boardroom, big issues in sports, $750 billion business of sports, and we're heading into the French Open, and we talk about international sports across the pond. We've talked about how the big agencies take advantage of this time to do business. The axis between Paris and London between mid-May and mid-July, about 75 to 80% of all of the world's business deals are done or renegotiated or validated around these two middle-of-the-year majors before we head into New York for the fourth one. But the sports bracket market alone brings in about $25 to $30 billion worldwide. About $6 billion comes from the U.S. One of the things that we focus on this show is how players who are successful on the court transfer, translate, transition into entrepreneurs off the court. Andy Ram, a former pro tennis player, three-time Grand Slam champ, went from center court to an office and launched Pulse Play, the first complete social ranking and racket sports scorekeeping wearable of its kind. We got talking about tennis, majors, Israeli tennis, Israeli soccer, and Pulse Play. We got a whole lot to talk about, Andy. How are you?
How are you? Good. Wow. What an opening.
Yeah, well, listen, you deserve it. So first, let's talk a little bit about where you are and what you're doing at this very moment. I think the viewers and listeners would be interested.
Well, since I retired, it was like a year ago since I announced my retirement. And 6 months ago, it was my last match in Davis Cup against Argentina in September. That was my last match. I won the doubles. We lost the tie. But then was like my officially last match as a professional tennis player. As you said, I travel a lot all over the world. I was like in all countries, all continents, all tournaments for many, many years. I did it for 15 years. I was traveling and playing professional 16, actually. And that's it. I finished my professional career now. And like you said, most players, when they retired, what the first thing they do is they go and they coach. That's the most, that's a comfort zone. That's what they know to do best, and they stay in their comfort zone. Most of them, the soccer players, basketball, everybody, sportsmen. And, through my last year when I thought about the retirement, from the day I announced until the day I actually stopped, I had a lot of time to think about things and what I want to do. And this is when the Pulse Play came up. The idea came up to me to stay involved with tennis, but in a different way, to do it on a business way. And it's still like Pulse Play, as you know, it's a wearable connected to tennis, and it's going to change the amateur experience of tennis players or racket players at all, like ping pong, squash, badminton. And so I'm still going to stay connected in tennis, but I wanted to try and to understand, learn, and experience the business world a little bit. And I think I did a good transaction so far. I've been very lucky to work with a great team of people that helping me, leading me, teaching me every day new things about technology, about social media, about tennis even, a little bit. But,
well, you can always
bring my experience, and yeah.
You can always learn more, and the best entrepreneurs in the world are the ones who are never through learning. And obviously, that's a very important opening statement from Andy Ram, who won 3 Grand Slam championships, but really kind of a entree into what he's doing now. Give us a little bit of a kind of an elevator speech about what Pulse Play is all about and what it's intended to do.
So pulse players, as I said, I traveled a lot. I realized there are two big problems. The first problem of amateur players is they forget the score. They fight over the score. They always argue. They have 1 hour the course for 15 minutes. They argue 40-15, no 34, no 40. They start to argue. This is the first problem. The second big problem I realized is that most of the players, they can't find players at their level to play with, opponents. Most of the players, the amateurs, they play with 1, 2, 3 friends they have in their club, and they don't know any other player. So if they go on vacation, for example, they can't find anybody. If they go at their own club, they can't find some other players to play with. And this is why I came up with Pulse Play. This is exactly what Pulse Play does. It's basically a smart wearable which connects to your app, to the iPhone, to the smartphone on the side of the court. And the smartphone is going to be now the scoreboard for you. I'm trying to bring the professional experience into the amateur world. So I brought there like the announcer. Is like I used to play with the Wimbledon announcer calling my score. I didn't have to worry about it. So I put up Obama as an umpire, Elvis Presley. I put 50 different voices of announcer for you. Like I put the scorekeeping. You're going to press the button on your wearable, and you're going to have the score immediately on the wearable and on the app on the side of the court. And I put the match history. When I used to play Federer, Djokovic, Nadal, before the match, I always knew when I played against them, who won, what was the score. I knew exactly. So I brought it to the amateur world. Before you're going to play with your friend, me and you, we're going to play. We're going to know exactly who won. In our case, obviously, it's going to be you. but those are the experiences I brought. Then I took it to another level. Once I have all the match history recorded, so I took a professor, a great professor, a math professor from the Technion, one of the biggest universities in Israel, and together we are building a world ranking system. Well, it's not together. He's building it, and I'm just supporting. He's the smart guy and bring all the algorithm and everything. But the main idea is to create a ranking, like according to the results, the games you're going to play against your friends. We created a local ranking, a national ranking, and international ranking. So now, no matter where you are in your club, country, in the world, you're going to always find somebody at your level to play with, which is very important at your level, because nobody likes to beat somebody 6-love or lose against somebody 6-love. You want to play with somebody you can compete against. And this is the main idea of Pulse Play, you know, if I have to say it in short.
Yeah, well, it's a good idea. Now, maybe you're wrong because I like to beat somebody 6-0, but it doesn't happen often. That's part of my life. You know, the bottom line of all of this, though, is that Andy Ram, calling us from Israel today, by the way, Yahoo Finance, Beyond the Boardroom, Beyond the Scoreboard. What is the hardest thing that you have experienced, Andy, making your transition from being an active on-court player to a businessman?
To be honest, the most difficult thing was to buy clothes. You know, I have to come with the jeans now to a war. I used to come with shorts and shirts, t-shirts, with everything, you know, sports shoes. Now go and buy all the suits. And
do you know how to work an ATM machine? Do you know how to get cash? Do you know how to write checks?
So you see, those are the difficult things I have now in life. Learn everything from the beginning. But
yeah.
I mean, there are many similar things. Like you said, sports and entrepreneur, like, you know, come startup to open a startup. It's kind of the same. When I started as a kid, you know, and a small kid started 5 years old playing tennis, nobody assumed like I'm going to be a success or winning a Grand Slam, winning Wimbledon, holding the Australian Open trophy. It's the same like with startup. When you start a startup, most of them are failing. You know, nobody knows really who's going to be successful. And this is the beauty of it. You start and you just work into it. You believe in what you do. And no matter what and who's telling you what, you keep believing in it. It's just like, you know, coming from the tennis world, the same. Like people that put a big X on Andy Ram, that he's not going to do well, he's not going to be successful, because when I was 20 and 21, 22, I wasn't as good as after. So, I don't know. There are many, many similar things that I'm bringing from the sports world into the, you know, business world, I'm calling it. It's very similar. I like it. I like the energy waking up in the morning. You know, if I do it with good energy and I believe in what I do, I do good things. You know, at the end of the day, I can't fail. And this is something that I definitely do. Come with passion to work and enjoying every day that what I'm doing. You know, I can change actually the experience of amateur players around the world. It's something big. You know, I was competing in a global sport. It wasn't like a national sport only in Israel. Tennis, it was worldwide. You know, I was performing all over the world, which was making it much more fun, you know, much more big than what's just, you know, tennis playing in your own club. And this is exactly what I'm trying to do here in the business world, you know, trying to create something big that is going to touch people all over the world. And I don't know, I'm really excited about it.
Well, you should be,
as you can see,
you have other people excited about it as well. We got a couple of minutes. Just two more questions for you, if you don't mind. First, what do you think the difference is today from, let's say, 20, 30 years ago, as far as the off-court awareness and intelligence of the touring professional, other than the top 4 or 5? The average touring professional, does he or she prepare do they have the skills, there to succeed today, as opposed to before? What do you think?
It's a great question. You know what? Because sports, it's not only in tennis, it changed a lot. You can see it, like if you watch old cassette tapes of football and basketball, even tennis, obviously. Like the sport changed. It's much more physical today. It's much more mentally. So let's say if you take tennis, for example, when we started playing tennis 34 years ago, when players used to travel alone, and then they added the coach, and then they took their physio, and then they start taking their psychology. And now today, every player, big player, they have this mentor next to them. If it's Lendl, if it's Becker, if it's Edberg, it's somebody, it's a big guy. So the tennis always develops. It's like developing today. It's a mental sport. Like the mental side of the sport today, it's crazy how important it is. You can see it in tennis so clearly these days when Djokovic controlling the tour. But it's not because, like, if he's going to hit with Federer from the baseline or with Nadal, with any other player, it's the same level. If somebody doesn't understand tennis, he's going to see two players hitting the shots, they're at the same level. Once they start playing the points and moving, mentally, he doesn't miss shots. And when it's crucial times, when he gets to the third set, he's going to win. Those are like mental skills that, you're creating with people, with experts for like mental skills. It took Boris Becker, not because Boris Becker is going to improve his forehand or backhand. It took Boris Becker because Boris Becker is going to work on his mental side. When you have Boris Becker on your bench, like you get stronger. You can't lose a match. When you have Stefan Edberg on your side, you can't lose a match. So those are the reasons why the top players keep developing and trying to keep for another extra % of what's gonna make the difference between them to the other players. And as I said, it's developed so much. If it's a coaches and a physio, and then everybody starts taking their private stringer that's gonna string the racket the exact tension they like every match. If you play wind or sun, if you play with a little bit of rain. So, those little things are making the difference at the end of the day. Like small details, each % is making the difference in top level. And listen, the sport becomes very physical and mental. It's developing there. All the technology they're bringing, the experts for physical and mental. So no doubt about it.
Amazing inside perspective from former tennis player turned significant entrepreneur, Andy Ram. Pulse Play, watch it, buy it. He's going to be in a very important part of this space for years to come. Rick Horrow, sports professor, Yahoo Sports Radio, Yahoo Finance. See you in a couple of minutes.
Attention, if you've had hip replacement surgery and suffered any complications, you need to listen to this important legal alert. Major manufacturers have made billions of dollars available to award legal claims for defective hip implants. Thousands of these defective hip implants have been recalled by various manufacturers. If you've had hip surgery and suffered complications, you may be entitled to receive significant compensation to help you deal with your complications. You may be eligible to receive money to help with medical expenses, lost wages, and pain and suffering. Protect yourself by hiring an experienced trial attorney. Our partner law firms are experts in hip replacement surgery lawsuits. Find out now if you're eligible to receive any of the $2.5 billion HIP settlement fund. Call now for free information. 800-296-1360. 800-296-1360. 800-296-1360. That's 800-296-1360.
Attention catheter users. Stop reusing dirty catheters. Catheters are now disposable. Recent changes in Medicare now allow patients up to 200 disposable catheters a month, all at little or no cost to you. We bill Medicare. Put an end to the mess and risk of infection by using old catheters. Just use a catheter once and throw it away. Eliminate trips to the pharmacy and insurance paperwork. Shipping is free. Receive a free catheter sample by calling and joining Medical Direct Club right now. Call 1-800-399-9018 to receive your free catheter sample discreetly delivered right to your door. That's 1-800-399-9018. 1-800-399-9018. Call 1-800-399-9018 today. Deductibles and copays apply. Free catheter samples require qualified membership. Sample will arrive with 90-day order.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number.
Call 877-499-MY-TV.
The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money.
Call 877-499-MY-TV.
Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $24.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows. Pause and rewind live TV. Even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $24.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card.
Call 877-499-MY-TV. That's 877-499-MY-TV.
Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more.
Call now, 877-499-MY-TV. That's 877-499-MY-TV.
Sports Professor Rick Horrow, Yahoo Finance, NBC family of networks, Beyond the Scoreboard, the serious show that doesn't take itself too seriously, largely because we've got to explain to everybody out there why this is a $750 billion to $1 trillion annual business without people's eyes glazing over. And we've had the conversation for many, many years as we do all of this, that right now when you look at sports and business and marketing and you realize that traditional mainstream media covers it the way they used to, it ain't your family's coverage anymore. It is now, if you want to do fantasy, if you want to be involved in consumer choices, if you want to understand what the good brands are and what they're not, you got to be involved in all aspects of the business and marketing of sports. Every business, every industry, it's the backbone of what we're doing. And on that note, obviously one of the key and important brands that we ever have had in this space, Procter & Gamble, and the Director of Sports Marketing for Procter & Gamble, Janet Fletcher, discussing the NFL draft, other sports initiatives, all of the things that are done live from the huddle room of Procter & Gamble. You didn't think I was going to say that. How's that for an intro?
That's wonderful, Rick. How are you?
I'm wonderful. First of all, we have so many things to cover, but tell us a little bit before we get into NFL and other initiatives, how you do your daily job. Clearly, it's titanic, and it's one of the issues that always involves, A, competing priorities, and B, metric measurement, and it's not as easy as just liking a property and then doling out sponsorship money for it. So give us an idea of how you work and how you make decisions.
Sure. Well, I would be remiss if I didn't say that I am the face of a whole team of very capable people, and we work on both NFL and Olympics at P&G, as well as a few other sports entities. But the team basically coordinates and leads all of the activations across 34 brands, across 15 of our customer teams, and we've got a well-oiled machine. That's one thing about P&G that I really appreciate is we've got a well-oiled machine. We're disciplined. We've got processes in place. We keep our timings, and also incredible partners with the NFL, with the USOC, a lot of the entities that we work with, good partnerships. So it makes my job, even though it's pretty broad, really manageable.
So let's get specific in some of these areas. First of all, the marketing and activation around the draft, the decision-making process around that. How do you spend money on team dollars versus league dollars? How does the draft fit into your overall NFL marketing plan, especially given what the draft will look like this week, which is in Chicago and bigger than ever?
We had an opportunity to meet with our NFL partners and just experience what was the draft week look like as a whole. And one of the things that we noticed, getting to know the players, their families, was that this event was an incredibly stressful time. And I thought it would only be stressful for the athletes, but what I watched was the players really get nervous about this life-changing moment. Their families who supported them since they were really little also caught up in that emotion. And we thought, wouldn't this be a great opportunity for the company to try to alleviate some of that stress? What could we do that could authentically take care of the players and the families in the background and help make this experience a much better time for them? And that's when our brands came to the forefront, Rick. We historically had tied celebrating the moment when players got to know what team they were on, but we found that with Gillette, Pantene, Old Spice, there were a number of our brands that could take care of them. And so we decided that for this draft this year that we would bring a few more of our brands, and we created a Gillette Lounge and a Pantene Spa purely with the intent of helping take a little bit of that stress off of the families and get them ready for their event. So as it relates to what was our reason for being at the draft and why were we there, it really was about serving those families and the athletes. And we have found that when we can find the authentic connection to an event, then it makes sense for us from a marketing investment standpoint, a business standpoint. Does that help provide some background?
Absolutely. And the bottom line of all of this is that you're very sensitive to the implications of what you do, not necessarily that it's going to generate significant ROI or business development over time. Obviously, the authentic tie-in is something that frankly makes you unique as you make your marketing decisions. And so especially with the NFL's appeal these days to women, to expanding the demographics, the vast majority of PG customers, I assume over all the 34 brands are female as well. I assume you use this as an opportunity to reach out and connect with all of your demographics as well.
Right. You know, it's interesting that we know that NFL appeals to men, and men and women both buy our products, so we're not just limited to females. But I think from the NFL, the two biggest segments that are growing for their fan base are women and also Hispanic. So as we looked at that, what a great matchup with our portfolio of brands and the people that shop our brands.
And the USOC is very important from a North American perspective, getting ready for international events, but from North America. The NFL clearly, gymnastics, soccer, other events. So just give me kind of highlights of the P&G brand mandate and your kind of broad strokes as it relates to other sports as well.
I think at Olympics is probably the second biggest platform that we've got next to the NFL in North America. And with the Rio 2016 games coming, you can imagine that we are gearing up for our activation in Rio, which will be happening next spring. So we've got two huge platforms. They are the primary ones that we work with company-wide. And then individual brands, depending on their target and their focus, will add in, for example, MLB with Head & Shoulders and Gillette. The beauty brands support U.S. gymnastics on a going basis. Those are a couple of the examples that we've got. But the two primary platforms company-wide that we get involved in are NFL and Olympics.
Which is the greatest platform you could possibly have as far as American sports is concerned.
I consider myself blessed that I've got one of the best jobs in the entire world.
Well, and you do it, obviously, you and the company does it very well. Janet Fletcher, Director of Sports Marketing for Procter & Gamble. Final question, and a trend question, I guess. 5 years from now, hard to answer. I'm going to ask it of you anyway. The sports marketing world is so evolutionary, and you play such a great part in staying ahead of the trends. What are we looking at 5 years from now that we're not really emphasizing as much today? Where does the whole world grow? Is it more in event placement? Is it more social media? Is it more focused on digital? Is it a whole combination? Give us kind of your 50,000-foot perspective.
Sure. I can give you Janice Fletcher's perspective on this. I think what we've seen is event and event placement is no longer going to be enough. I do think that what people are looking for is a way to authentically connect and experience what is happening. So I think the trends that you're seeing with social media, very much so, Twitter and Facebook, for example, and all the different platforms that are coming out. I also think that the viewing experience is so different now. It's not only just watching it on the main screen, but second and third screen being a part of it. But if you think about it, consumers want to connect. They want to connect to the sport. They want to connect to the athletes. They want to connect through their communities. It's all about connection. So the marketing companies that can do that are going to win overall.
Janice Fletcher, Director of Sports Marketing, P&G, coming off an incredibly successful draft activation. And as we know, even before this interview and certainly well after, 34 brands, it's not just the NFL but the Olympics and everything else. It's really important that sports marketing, P&G, is out there, out front, setting some really positive trends. Rick Horrow, Beyond the Scoreboard, Yahoo Finance, and NBC Family of Networks. Be back.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for prescription drugs? Well, we have great news. Now you can finally get prescription drugs at huge discounts from Canada Drug Center. That's right, the most popular drugs for cholesterol, high blood pressure, depression, diabetes, arthritis, and many more are now up to 75% off. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices when you can get brand name drugs at the lowest price? Call today and get up to 75% off all the popular brand name prescription drugs. Never pay high prices again. Get the most popular drugs at huge savings from our Canadian and international pharmacies and fulfillment centers. No insurance? No problem. Prices are so low you do not need benefits or insurance to get all your prescriptions fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting to take your call now. Order today and get free shipping. Just call 800-950-1180. Up to 75% off all the popular brand name prescription drugs and free shipping. Call 800-950-1180. That's 800-950-1180.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 877-663-7126 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 877-663-7126 to take your call now. Call 877-663-7126. That's 877-663-7126. Again, 877-663-7126.
Rebuild or replace transmission, $3,200. Anti-lock brake system, $1,000. Rebuild or replace engine, $2,400. Truth is, once your manufacturer's warranty runs out, it's all on you. Every last cent. Get protection for covered repairs with a vehicle service contract from Toco Warranty. Unlike other companies, with Toco, there's no down payment, and the monthly payments are really affordable. Not sure how long you're keeping your car? At Toco, you can pay as you go. Keep your hard-earned cash and call Toco Warranty right now at 800-222-2313 to save big money on covered auto repairs. Prices vary by vehicle, but for about the cost of a tank of gas per month, a Toco plan has your back on expensive covered car repairs. Monthly payments are very affordable. Get your free quote now. Call Toco at 800-222-2313. That's 800-222-2313. 800-222-2313. Cancellation fee may apply. Subject to eligibility. Not available in Missouri and Washington. Waiting period and deductible apply. Coverage provided and administered by Warrantech Corporation or its affiliates. Not affiliated with any manufacturer or dealership. Visit TocoWarranty.com for complete terms and conditions.
I'm the sports professor Rick Horrow with Beyond the Scoreboard, MLB, and China. As professional sports leagues continue to expand their reach internationally by bringing talent and money back to the domestic market, MLB is trying to further tap into China. Late last week, MLB announced a wide-ranging 3-year deal with Chinese media and technology outfit Les Sports. Under terms of the new agreement, The company holds exclusive media rights in China to broadcast 125 MLB games per season, including 4 regular season games per week, 20 postseason games, all World Series games, and the All-Star Game, along with Mandarin language MLB programming. MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred discussed the new deal at CES Las Vegas. Quote, "We want to weave baseball into the fabric of China's culture," Manfred said. "We need to work with local partners to make it relevant." Millions of potential fans are gearing up to see their first live-streamed MLB game. I'm the sports professor Rick Horrow, and that's Beyond the Scoreboard. So the bios say that since 1977, Bill James has written more than 24 books in history and stats, and I would say the godfather of statistics, the grandfather, the father. What do you think?
The creepy uncle.
The creepy uncle, ladies and gentlemen. No, in all seriousness, though, Moneyball owes the history to you. Stratomatic owes the history to you. All of the early kind of analytics view you with awe and respect. And obviously, when you were dealing with it, it was a passion. But you had no idea, or did you, that it would morph into what it is today?
I had absolutely no idea that the things that have happened would happen. I had no concept of that. But I always did believe that I was not that peculiar, and that there were a significant number of people who were also interested in the things that I was interested in. And my absolute confidence that that had to be true was the best decision that I ever made, other than perhaps taking out my wife. But when I was a young person, can't tell you how many people said to me, I'm really interested in what you're doing, but you'll never make a living doing it because there just aren't enough people like that. So many people would say that to me that I knew it couldn't be true because they just either the people that I met were terribly atypical, or there had to be an economic number of us. So I bet on there being an economic number of us.
There were a small economic number, but they were tenacious, and then they grew with credibility, largely because of the work that you did.
No, not because of me. They grew largely because those people were always there, but they were not being served by the market. The sports writing market was not speaking to the people that it does now.
Writer, historian, statistician is the language in the bio. Which one of those do you think most accurately portrays you?
Well, I always say that I'm a writer, and I couldn't say that I'm a historian because I'm not trained in the things that historians are trained in. I wouldn't say I'm a statistician because no statistician would ever accept me as a member of their group, but anybody can be a writer.
Well, but it's also perfect because you describe what you're not, and clearly you're incredibly unique. And so the segue into that, how difficult was it once you established a methodological analysis and believed in some obvious processes to get people to inside the sports to take you seriously?
It was never my goal to get people who were working inside the sports to take me seriously, and I was really surprised at how rapidly that did happen rather than surprised that it didn't happen sooner. I was just writing to people who were interested in the same things that I was interested in. I always knew that number was larger than I was told that it was, but I was still surprised by how large it was. And I was also very surprised by how rapidly those kids who were reading my books when they were 12, I was surprised by how fast they grew up and became general managers.
What was the analytical catalyst? Was it Moneyball, or was it before that?
Long before that. And again, one of the things that people tell me a lot is, "Oh yeah, I was reading your books a long, long time ago." Old scouts will come up to me and say, "Oh yeah, I was trying to get the Cincinnati Reds to pay attention to your stuff in 1983." I don't doubt they're telling the truth, but they were awfully quiet about it at the time.
Yeah, obviously, and so Moneyball is the populist version of a catalyst, but obviously a lot earlier than that. One of the questions that always happens, I guess, is in a kind of intuitive. How do you measure heart? How do you measure the intangibles? Your metrics process slowly was accepted by people that had a little more vision? Is that one of the reasons, you think?
What I had not thought about when I was doing the stuff that became the basis of my career, what I had not thought about was that professional sports organizations actually needed an approach exactly like this. Professional sports, what I was concerned about was exactly how good is this player. And I was just concerned about that in the way that a fan is always concerned about that. What I really didn't think about is the fact that professional sports teams need a structured way to think about value and a structured way to think about constructing a team. And the things I was doing accidentally were very useful along that line. But I wasn't aware of that at all at the time that I was doing them.
Do you think, as we now see analytics not only accepted but in many ways preferred, is it going the other way now? Is there a threat that people are too conscious about numbers and don't view the intangibles the way they probably should?
Well, it's our job to be open to the things that we don't understand. And it was never my point that you guys don't understand baseball and here's the way you should look at it. It was always my point that there's a lot that we don't understand. There's a lot that we don't know. That's still where we are, and that's where we will be 50 years from now. It's the responsibility of people in my field to be open to seeing the things that they don't understand.
Can you get a sense or give us a sense of the broad notion of what general analytics are your favorites? What are the ones or the items that need to be analyzed that are more important to the core of baseball than others today?
Well, the importance of everything relates to its contribution to wins. And certain things are quite important to winning that we tend not to focus on. Where we are now is that we have a sophisticated enough understanding of what happens on the field that but we are still bamboozled by how unpredictable it is because of things that happen off the field. In order to get better at predicting what players are going to be able to do on the field, I don't mean to invade anyone's privacy, that's not what I'm saying, but you need to get a better understanding of growth progressions in athletes, of good year, bad year cycles in athletes. And I think that those are the most rich veins that we could be examining at this time.
Some of that is inherently statistical, but without invading privacy, you need to get a window on what's in a person's mind and in a person's heart.
Right.
Are there metrics that can analyze that as well?
The job is not to use metrics, but to create them. Our job is to find ways to measure the things that aren't being measured.
Are we on the way to doing that with the, let's call them the intangibles today?
We always know things that we didn't know 10 years ago. And there are a lot of things that we understand now that we didn't. I expect that 10 years from now that will still be true. But I don't expect that it will ever be true that we run out of questions. I always think that there are going to be things that we don't get.
We're now measuring everything, and the other piece of this is that the Billy Beans who begat the Theo Epsteins, who begat the very well-paid general managers who are making decisions with Moneyball focuses are now commanding higher salaries, and maybe the expectation is higher. Is that one way to look at how the industry is progressing?
No, I don't think you can measure how the industry is progressing at all based on who gets paid how much money, unless you can demonstrate that the money is being wasted. Then you can probably use it that way.
Interesting. So what does baseball need to do to improve its use of statistical analysis and analytics in making fundamental decisions?
It would be helpful if more people understood that factoids are integrated into decisions rather than something that sits outside decisions. A decision is a kind of a stew, and you don't sift the stew and eat the beef separately from the vegetables and then drink the broth. It's all works together.
Is there something fundamentally different? Is it more similar or more different making Fortune 500 related core business decisions and baseball-oriented decisions?
I suspect there are a lot of parallels, but I suspect there are a lot of differences. If I could point this out, I know a lot of people who work in an office with 20 other people, and they don't have any real idea of the skill sets of the 20 people they work with. But if you ask them to name the 5 best middle infielders at turning the double play, they can tell you that in a year or in a moment. I suspect that that's true in business as well, everywhere, that the decisions that people make are driven by the information that they happen to know rather than by the information that they need. I suspect that that's true I know that that's true in baseball, and I suspect that it's true in every other field as well.
And only being a student of the other fields, can we validate that or not? But just one kind of fun concept here at this conference that is analytic based. You are cornered incessantly by a mad throng of early 20-year-old and millennials wanting to have pictures taken with their hero. How does this all make you feel, by the way?
Very peculiar and very, very old. But you know what's great about it is very rarely are those young people asking me, can you tell me how I can get hired by a baseball team? But they almost always have some theory. I think this might be true. Have you ever thought about baseball this way? That's what's really great about it.
And I guess the bottom line, too, if you're advising a young person who's either watching our podcast or out there in the halls wanting to get in the middle of the sport, what would you tell them?
I get that question, too. And the best answer I can give you to that question, learn to speak Spanish. In baseball, you wouldn't believe how helpful it is to learn to speak Spanish because a lot of our players are Spanish. And one of the first questions you're going to be asked on a job interview is, do you speak Spanish? On any sports teams are really teams. And you have to work together, and the people skills that are required to work inside baseball are at a very high level.
Heard this one before, so if you were the commissioner for a day, what would be the one baseball-oriented rule you would change?
Well, earlier today I was attacking the balk rule, and baseball stops too often, and one of the biggest reasons it stops too often is the balk rule.
Go ahead.
The balk rule is a stop-action rule. The balk rule essentially says that you can't fake a player out. Well, who needs a rule that you can't fake a player out? I mean, it's like a rule that a quarterback can't fake a run or fake a pass and then run. Why can't he? Sure, let him in.
Well, we're going to archive this podcast, and when baseball changes its rule, I'm going to send this to you and say, remember when.
We all know healthcare has changed drastically. It's quite the puzzle to sort through your options and find a health insurance plan that's affordable and maximizes your benefits. And you're now required by law to have health insurance, or you may pay a tax penalty. So let the Health Markets Insurance Agency help you. They offer plans from over 120 different companies and can even help you obtain government subsidies. Let them do all the research for you and show you how affordable health insurance can be, a service that's at no extra cost to you. Call now and learn your options to find affordable health insurance. 800-614-1242. 800-614-1242. 800-614-1242. 800-614-1242. Health Markets Insurance Agency is a DBA or assumed name of Insphere Insurance Solutions, Inc., which is a licensed insurance agency in all 50 states and D.C. Not all agents are licensed to sell all products. Service availability varies by state.
Attention, if you've had hip replacement surgery and suffered any complications, you need to listen to this important legal alert. Major manufacturers have made billions of dollars available to award legal claims for defective hip implants. Thousands of these defective hip implants have been recalled by various manufacturers. If you've had hip surgery and suffered complications, you may be entitled to receive significant compensation to help you deal with your complications. You may be eligible to receive money to help with medical expenses, lost wages, and pain and suffering. Protect yourself by hiring an experienced trial attorney. Our partner law firms are experts in hip replacement surgery lawsuits. Find out now if you're eligible to receive any of the $2.5 billion hip settlement fund. Call now for free information. 800-296-1360. 800-296-1360. 800-296-1360. That's 800-296-1360.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 877-663-7126 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 877-663-7126 to take your call now. Call 877-663-7126. That's 877-663-7126. Again, 877-663-7126.
Back for our last segment, we've covered entrepreneurialism and best practices. Andy Ram, Janet Fletcher, and Bill James in all of their different perspectives. And with March Madness coming up and baseball beginning and football and basketball not that far on the horizon from the professional perspective, guess what? We're talking bust, boom, and hope. The not so good, the good, and the hopeful in the economy. First, let's start with bust. Oklahoma State University football coach Mike Gundy lashed out at the University of Texas and their Longhorn network, one of the driving forces in the conference's increasing instability, he says. With Texas having its own, Big 12 as the league doesn't even have its own, and the SEC and Big 10 have their own network and been incredibly successful since their inceptions. Gundy said that by eliminating the Longhorn network, called a failure from his perspective, and creating a conference-wide Big 12 network, would give the league more national exposure. And both ESPN and Texas, by the way, losing $48 million since the launch in 2011, vowed to keep going. A 20-year, $295 million agreement, paying the school an average of about $15 million per year. David Boren, the president of University of Oklahoma, says that if the Longhorn Network doesn't fold in X number of years, Texas may go to the Pac-12 or SEC anyway. We'll just have to see. Boom. Nike, 20% increase in quarter three compared to last year. $100 million more than analysts' consensus expectation. Mark Parker, their CEO, says the strong quarter said strong diversity, international, stronger sales in China. And by the way, leave it to the CFO. You know what he said? The company's portfolio may not have the same momentum each and every period. Sounds like a CFO. Bottom line, though, is Nike clearly, boom, getting better every single year. Finally, hope. 250 fans per game at a couple of games, the NCAA women's basketball tournament, but 5,000 average attendance. University of South Carolina leads the way for them. 10,000 fans, Colonial Life Arena. UConn, the power that drives everything. Dallas, Sioux Falls, Lexington, Bridgeport, Connecticut have regionals and clearly a good chance to move forward with UConn leading the way. We'd like to thank Andy Ram, Janet Fletcher, Bill James. We've got the Power 100 coming out next week. We've got March Madness. We're getting ready for baseball. Oh, so many things. And why don't you join us next week when we go Beyond the Scoreboard.